is 6 o'clock, and we'll call this meeting to order. If we can get a roll call, Greg.
Derek?
Here.
Katie?
Here.
Greg here? Stephen?
Here.
Lane?
Here.
All here.
All right. If we get the flag salute and the prayer, led by Katie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this opportunity tonight to come together as a board and a community and as school staff just to make important decisions on behalf of our students, which is why we're all here. Sometimes we don't agree on everything, but I know that we're all here in the best interest of the students. So we just pray for wisdom tonight, God, and just give us the understanding that we need to make the right decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me about that microphone there. All right, moving on to item 2, public participation. Pursuant to Board Policy BEDR, members of the public shall be allowed to attend all meetings of the Board of Education. In addition, the Board of Education will have an item on every regular board meeting agenda that affords citizens the right to speak. Any individual wishing to address the board shall sign in with the board minutes clerk prior to the start of the meeting. The president of the board will then acknowledge only those individuals whose names are listed to address the board. The board will set a maximum time of 21 minutes at each regular meeting for public comment. Those wishing to speak will be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they signed in with the board minutes clerk. The president of the board may extend the time limits if necessary. We've got 2 signed up tonight, and first is Jackie Cardwell.
Yes, just push the button and the red light. Perfect. And ignore my phone, which is actually Piedmont Schools saying that one of my kids is calling. Okay. Honorable members of the school board, good evening. I come before you not just to be the voice of our family, but the voice of those who are afraid to speak. Just saying those words, afraid to speak, if nothing else I say, that should give you pause. We live in a time where it's very easy for criticism to go unchecked on social media. And so I understand that this board and many others here tonight and in staff are constantly under the bombardment of negative comments. I do not come here tonight with those. As I've said, I've come here to speak for others. Our family has been subjected to bullying of our sons, bullying verbally at athletic events by administrators from this school, and physical pushing by a staff member at a football game by the school member. That's our experience. We've lost faith in our leadership here, but we're not the only ones. Our students are losing faith. I've come to speak for the student in my son's class who was called a monkey, and then when he objected to the young lady who told him, "Who's ever going to believe you over me?" My son and his friends heard that, and he took it to the teacher, and the teacher replied to him, "Well, that sounds out of character for her, but I suppose I could look into it." Nothing ever came of it. That's unacceptable. The student is discouraged. I come on behalf of the larger young men and women in our school who get fat shamed, even without realizing it, by our staff, when they are not allowed proper garments in orders from BSN or on school websites. We have 4X, 5X students. They don't get these shirts. It's embarrassing for them. They come to me. I make their shirts. I come on behalf of 2 boys that took their lives within the last 4 or 5 years, not because of bullying, but because we all dropped the ball on them, because they're not being heard and they're not being seen. I knew those boys well, and I live with the guilt that I dropped the ball as well. But I come hoping for change. I come hoping that once again our schools and our parents can be partners instead of this chasm that seems to be between us. We have a bullying problem here. There's simply no denying it. From videos of students fighting on buses to altercations after school, when students walk home, from fights in the high school bathrooms to harassments in locker rooms and hallways. One of the worst problems is online bullying, but sadly, there's not much that you as a district can do to protect our children from that. Maybe in the future that'll change, but for now, I understand and I empathize with how hard that must be for all of you and for our teachers every single day. You can only do within the boundaries of what you're given. So I come with a question for you. How can we help you? I come with the hope that maybe we, the parents, and you, the staff, can change the direction our schools are heading. Let us back in the classrooms when they're younger. Let us help you guide them and help the teachers who have an immense responsibility in overcrowded classrooms. I was blessed that my sons had the time frame that I could be in their classroom, and I was there every Thursday in pre-K, and those are some really great memories for me. I still have relationships with those students in that class and in Jacob's class even today that were forged then. We can see these children with you if you'll allow us to come help you. If the teacher needed a moment with a child, I could read them a book. If a kiddo needed just a moment away from his peers, I was there. He or she could come sit with me for warm encouragement and a place to rest. We're in this together, and we'll support you. I'm almost done. Can I have like 2 minutes? Okay. I fear it's too late for many of our older students, but if you'll let us help with these young ones, maybe, just maybe, we can all change the course that we're on. My greatest fear is that if we do nothing, we're going to see what happened at Edmond Santa Fe happen not only with our older students, but with our middle school students. And I fear even with our intermediate students. So I ask you again, how can we help you?
All right,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Janie McNabb.
I'm not gonna take 3 minutes. I've been in this district for over 17 years. When we moved here, my oldest daughter was in pre-K. My son was born shortly after that and has been in the special ed program since pre-K. We have always had excellent teachers and paras when my son's been in a classroom, and they have been the best. And I know from seeing things on Facebook and talking with other parents, they may not have had the same issues that we have, which has always been very good. This past month, we had a suicide, what I call trauma dump, where my son was used as a prop in this man's speech. And I did go to the high school and I talked with the principal about it because I did opt out for my son not to go to that suicide prevention, dump, whatever you want to call it. The man was not, in my opinion, properly vetted. And that would have come from the administrators that were above the principal level at the middle school and above the principal level at the high school. And this is where, since I've been here for 17 years, I see where the breakdown in communication is. It's not always at the bottom where everybody likes to blame it, the teachers, the paras, and on up. This starts at the top, and it needs to be fixed. And it doesn't need to be say, we need to work better on this. It needs to be, we will do better than this. Because my son's rights were violated. It has to stop. My son was picked out of a group of special ed kids by this man, was met before the speech by this man, and then as soon as he met my son and had him stand up, he turned around and he went right into his little dump about, well, I had a cousin or a family member that has autism and he used to get beat up behind the school. And you know what I find the best thing about this that I've learned is that the kids in this district reached out to me and the parents, but only after the kids reached out to me. Those kids that left that high school gymnasium all thought it was wrong, and they all thought my son was put in a position that he never should have been put in, and he shouldn't have been. He doesn't understand about what's being said. Half the kids in that room didn't understand or agree what was being said. The gentleman that walked into that room and dumped his trauma on all those kids should have never been allowed in that school, ever. The vetting was horrible. I spent 15 minutes the other night and went down the rabbit hole, and I found things on this guy, and I could have said, no, we can't have this gentleman in this. The man is an older man, and he has a thought process of tough love. These kids nowadays don't have brains like we do and can make positive assurances that when they hear something, it's coming from the heart. That man spoke of tough love and things that some of these kids are not raised like. My daughter and my son, yeah, they're being raised by tough love because he's not going to be any different than his sister. So they're both raised by tough love. But nowadays, these kids don't understand that when somebody's talking about, well, look in the mirror and it starts with you, or that hurting yourself is normal and it starts with you. These kids don't understand that. So as administrators, as the people above the principals, y'all have failed us and y'all have got to do better.
Thank you. As you know, we can't respond to public comment, but we do appreciate your feedback. All right, moving on to item 3, executive session. Part A, vote to convene or not to convene into executive session pursuant to 25 OS 307B1 for the purpose of discussing employment is listed on attachment A.
I motion we go to executive session.
Second.
Motion by Derek to go into executive session, a second by Greg. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Greg, yes, Stephen,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes. All right, it is 6:12 and we are entering into executive session. right, it's, moving on to item B, the board has returned to open session at 6:20 PM. The board entered into executive session at 6:12 PM pursuant to 25 OS 307B1. To discuss employment is listed on attachment A. Those present in executive session were Derek Jones, Katie Cornman, Greg Duffy, Stephen Cox, Lane Jones, and James White. No action was taken by the board. Moving on to item 4, Part A, discuss and take possible action on employment is listed on attachment A. And for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve attachment A.
Motion by Stephen to approve.
I'll second it.
Katie with the second. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Greg, yes, Stephen,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes. Moving on to item B, discuss and take possible action on purchase of 5 current lease buses.
These are buses, like you said, we currently lease. Ideally, we would have wanted to continue to lease with 5 new ones. They're not available anymore due to them. They've had cuts with a lot of their leasing fleet. And so that seems to be the thing with a lot of them. So any of the leases that were on the end, it's real hard to get a new lease started. So our option was to look to purchase new ones, purchase these. We are still waiting to get the ones we purchased in early 22. They're getting air conditionings put in now, so it's over a year out to get a new bus. We can keep these, we already have these in our possession, we will just hang on to these. And as you can see what the price would be, so 4 of those are 77 passenger, and 1 of them is a 71 passenger. Without them, we won't have enough to run.
Will we be paying the lease up through the term of the lease, or are we gonna go ahead and purchase now and stop the lease?
The lease is already over, the lease is ending.
It's already ended on them, but we still have them in our possession?
This is our last year of the lease, we've already paid the lease, yes.
Okay, it's already been paid. And that lease was to run through when?
The end of the school year.
The end of the school year. And so when will we pay for these buses? Upon receiving them, or,
We already have the buses
okay, so we're gonna pay for them when?
when this is approved. Well, I mean, there's a purchase order tonight, I believe that's in there.
So we'll be paying a lease and paying for the
The
bus
lease
during
was
certain
through the
months?
end of school, we will be purchasing based on the end of that lease. We'd already agreed to the lease.
Was that always the plan on these, was to buy at the end and then lease more, or is that the only
Oh,
option?
to lease more without buying them, yes. Our plan was
But
to
is that
replace
the
these
only
with,
option that we have is to buy, they won't release the
yes,
same?
yes, they're not
buses?
leasing any more buses through
Gotcha.
them. And there's a waiting list for these, it's just hard to get any used buses right now.
Eric, do you have anything else? on this?
No.
Great. Katie, Stephen, what's your recommendation
We purchased these 4 buses.
for a motion?
I'm sorry, 5 buses.
I'll make a motion that we purchase them.
All right, got a motion by Derek,
I'll second.
purchase, second by Stephen. We get a vote.
In a second.
Yeah, Stephen second.
Yeah, I said in a second, I was
Oh, got it.
ready.
Okay.
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Greg, yes? Stephen?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, moving on to part C, discuss and take possible action on the middle school construction change order for hallways and lighting.
All right, when we got into the middle school, the lighting, we retroed almost every existing light we have. Up to this point, we stayed away from the middle school because of construction. Now that we've gotten in there and seeing what we need to do, we've asked Lippert Brothers to come up with a price to remodel current hallways that aren't getting touched in that, and then to change all the lighting in the current building to match it up, hallways, the flooring, the walls. We will take out all the old lockers, redo those walls. And as you can see going down through there, what that would be. They've given us this price. We're allowed to do this as a change order with Lippert Brothers. Right now, as you can see, the total price, $409,350. With that, we have about $283,000 that will be coming back to us from the activity center that we did not end up using in contingency. That will roll over to that project. There's another $131,000 still in contingency at the middle school. We're not ready to say we're not gonna need that, because there will be some of that needed we will get into something that we'll use some of that before it's said and done, but I doubt, and hopefully not all of that. So the cost is, even though that is $409,000, we are saving money at the WAC that we're able to move over, almost $300,000.
So where does the balance come from? Is in the building fund or?
We're allowed to go over the original bid by a certain amount, and we're gonna be well
Yeah.
under that.
Yeah, we haven't done anything over it yet.
I didn't think we had any other change orders.
Nothing that's been outside the contingency.
When we change the lighting out in the other buildings, where does this, I mean, obviously, we're doing more than just lighting, but I don't remember the prices on the lighting when we changed those a few years
On
ago.
how much it was
Yeah,
per building?
just average.
Do you remember that, Sean, off the top of your head? The lighting, what we paid the other guy on the lighting?
Like in the intermediate or something, I just
I just don't remember that off the
That's
top of my
fine.
head.
That's fine.
I know what the total amount, I think it was. I don't remember what it was for each side.
That's fine. Thank you.
Any questions? Derek?
Nope.
Greg?
Nope.
Katie? Stephen?
No.
All right, if not, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Stephen to approve and a second by Derek. And can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Greg, yes. Stephen,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes. All right, moving on to item D, discuss possible scheduling a special meeting. This was one I'd requested Dr. White put on the agenda for us to talk about. Dr. Joe Siano from the OSSBA has offered to come give us a presentation on the OSSBA tool for superintendent evaluation. And that would also cover some of the professional development requirements that are come through the OSSBA for board hours. And it would also allow us to have, to see the actual evaluation tool and answer any questions. So he asked us to coordinate some dates.
Okay.
And he said mornings would work well with him as well, so. Any particular days jump out? Any days that don't work for anybody in particular? I'm assuming.
How quick are we looking to, like, this month?
It would be between now and the next board meeting.
Okay.
And so,
How does the Tuesday after spring break look?
that is the calendar.
I believe that's the 21st.
what'd you say, the 21st?
21st.
21st. 21st will work for everybody in the morning? Mornings, okay? Stephen?
Yeah, that's fine.
Work for everybody down here too?
Mhm.
Great.
Like
21st.
8,
What time?
like 8 o'clock?
Yeah, so 8 o'clock work?
Right here.
Do we need to have any action on that, or no? Okay. All right, that work.
Mhm.
At what time?
8 AM,
Here?
yes. Yep, okay. All right. Moving on to item E, discuss possible future bond issues.
All right, Lane, I wanted to put this on there just to kind of informational, to let everybody know where we're at, with Jordan running the latest numbers based on this year's valuation. The earliest he sees us being able to bond would be, early 2024. Right now, our election dates in early 24 are February, March, April. There are some bills in the legislature that are gonna limit those days if they pass. If so, they'll probably take away the February one for sure. Or no, I think it'd take away the March and May. And so, anyway, right now, February is good. We would have to have about 75 days prior to that election to decide if we were gonna have it. We would be able to vote to propose 83 million. And we would net, out of that 83, with today's rates, we would net about 50 million in construction costs. That number has went up a little bit from the last time we ran it due to this year's valuation growth. We grew over 12%. You have a chart in your planning document that shows that. Our 5-year average is now over 9%, so that 12 was quite a bit. All of our bonds are based on 5% growth, so we well exceeded that, especially over the last 5 years and even years prior to that. Our target millage was 39.5. Right now, we're only able to get up to about 34 with our current valuation. So the 83 would be without any tax increase. That would just be staying current. With those projects that we'll discuss and projects that are in our planning document that we would look at would be another early childhood center, definitely another intermediate, and possibly another elementary if we could. For that amount of money, it would be really tough to do all three. But we do have our architects looking at the possibility of a combo school. There are some in the metro area where basically you utilize the same kitchen, the same office space and things like that, but each building's separate on each end. You go each way, everybody's got their own car loop, their own parking lot, things like that. And so there's some that partner an intermediate with an elementary type thing. We would look at possibly partnering some of that to lower the cost too and have it on one campus. And so I just wanted to put those numbers out there, Lane, for everybody to start thinking about. Obviously, not a hurry to decide anything, but just something to be thinking about.
Would these be on the east side of the district?
So what's the planning process like if we're talking about as early as February and we have to be ready 75 days before? Like, how long is the building of what we're asking for? How long does that normally take us to put that together?
How long does it take to build the building or to
No,
prepare
like
for
to
the
decide,
package?
to prepare for the
It doesn't.
package.
It doesn't take long. A lot of the paperwork, Jordan Smith will take care of the paperwork. There'll be a resolution on one of our board meetings to propose it. It'll all be turned over to the county for the election, and then after that, it's just the promotion of it.
And is it all decided before like, do we do like town hall type things before the package is ready? Or is it just during the promotion where we would allow opportunity for people to ask?
We haven't voted prior to the package being, because we know what is needed down the line. And so the input on, I would rather have this, or I would rather have that, it's fairly well laid out for us if we follow along with what we've decided that what it'll be. Now, that's not to say we couldn't change it and build whatever you chose to build. It has to be specific in the project and the bond proposal.
Right. Did you say not normally till after? Is that what you said?
Yeah, we'll ask questions about, mainly our most tax question, or questions are gonna be about, does it raise my taxes?
Right.
If we vote for this, what will it do to my taxes?
Mhm.
That's always the big question.
I don't know, I mean, I know we approved the planning document. I personally would like to see some sort of open conversation before finalizing any kind of packet to present, if possible.
About what?
Just allowing the community to even just give, I mean, they could come, I guess, to every school board meeting if that's how we wanna take it, but just some sort, obviously, we have needs that we've already analyzed that we need, but like just hearing what might be important before we put the final packet together for questions, that would be important to me. I don't know.
Agreed.
Just
I
at
agree with
least
that.
one night to hear feedback.
At least the sounding of the public.
Yeah.
Has there been any progress anywhere that be an indication, I know Derek said probably east side,
Mhm.
that anything's gonna be available?
Land-wise, you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's gonna be expensive, everything we found so far that we've talked to. Right now, we don't have a developer that is willing for the amount of land, that we would need, but we're still,
Well, you're looking at if you was just doing an intermediate 20-acre minimum for each school.
for an intermediate, it sits on 20 acres now, and you can see we have quite a bit of space on that. So, probably for an intermediate, 12 would be the minimum, I would say, for the intermediate. If we were gonna do a combo school, if we had a 20-acre plot, then we could definitely pull off one that has a combo where you're talking 300 or 400 kids on each, at each school site. Just because it would allow you for separate car lines and those type things.
We've been lucky in the past getting people to donate
Yeah.
land to us, and,
Yeah, hopefully it still happens.
yeah, hopefully we can get that done again.
About how much is land? You said it's gonna be expensive, just curious.
The last one I talked to for sale, I don't remember, it was in the millions, and it was a 40-acre tract that was in the millions.
Have we been able to have any conversations with, what's the new development, going in over,
Habitat for Humanity?
huh?
The Habitat for
Yeah, the
Humanity?
Habitat for Humanity folks, or whether it might be beneficial to work together with them?
Yeah,
Because of the infrastructure of their needs.
we did, it's just awful close to an existing one, and the
Right.
traffic along that road already,
Right.
and so.
Hmm.
Derek?
No.
Greg?
No.
Katie? Stephen?
No.
All right, anything else? Dwight?
No.
All right, moving on to item 5, consent agenda. Discuss and then vote to approve all consent items. These items may be approved by one board motion unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items.
I just have a comment on item A. I know I had emailed Summer, just, people were asking me if the board meeting minutes were on the website or not. And I guess it's just the agenda, and then we send out kind of the minute summary and the report. So, I mean, I personally think it would be helpful if we started doing that. I know that's just a side comment, it's not an item, but
last year, we had made a change on the draft that was presented to add Good Friday to the calendar, and I see that it's dropped again. Is there no way to put that in again?
Well, the date of Good Friday this year, we're off the week before that, and then a teacher resource day on that Monday before that, so that would only be 3 school days prior to that. That's why it's not in there.
So I guess interpreting here, you're saying no, there isn't any way in 180 days?
No, there is, you can put it in there right now if you wanted to. I'm just saying that's not what we came up with, because we were out of school the week before, and then kids weren't here the Monday of that week.
Kind of related to the calendar a little bit here, has there been any more discussion about, in order to go back to the bus drivers situation, of moving the bell schedule?
We have not.
Okay. What else, Derek? Any questions on these items?
So how will the streaming deal with the ref work with them already partnering through so many schools? Will it just, I mean, how,
KREF?
yeah, how will,
Yeah,
all-
so, we will end our agreement with Squirtle, and we'll move to KREF as we enter into COAC.
okay,
It's a free service, they do all the, they go seek the sponsors that make it happen. A lot of the COACs, they already, they already partner with, so, they're gonna allow some podcasts, coaches shows, and stream more of our events too. Some of our, sports that don't usually get streamed will be streamed.
okay. What kind of revenue share?
That I don't have in front of me, I can email that to you,
Okay.
but it's split evenly amongst the
Right.
COAC members, and there's also some, schools outside of that COAC
Okay,
that have it.
it's a pretty neat opportunity.
Thank you, I believe so too.
President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the items on the consent agenda with the exception of a separate vote on item H.
All right. Got a motion by Greg for consent agenda items approval with the exception of letter H. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we've got a motion by Greg. Summer, you get the wording of that correctly? Okay. Motion by Greg to approve agenda items A through Q with the exception of letter H. You got a second by Katie. Can we get a vote?
So,
Dick?
can I ask a question real quick? When will we approve that calendar?
I
At
would
the
say
special
be
session?
I would say be a separate vote,
Okay,
as it
Gotcha.
says, have a separate
Okay.
vote on any of those.
okay,
So it would be by separate vote.
right, gotcha.
All right, looking for, or got a second? We need a vote.
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Greg, yes, Stephen,
Yes.
Janet Lane.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion then to add Good Friday to the calendar and to make whatever adjustments need to be made by administration in order to accomplish that.
So Craig pulling out a separate, okay. So we got a motion by Greg. Can you repeat that again? You got it? Okay.
I'd like to know where we're gonna fall in the days of, that are required before.
Well, we would be a day short from what we're at now. We're at 170. Then it would come into play on if we had any weather days or things like that. We have to have a minimum of, I believe now they've changed that to 165, correct? Somewhere on that. But if you drop that low, you're gonna be adding days in or taking away resource days if you have any weather days. Right now, we haven't had to do that. We could add that day on the end and have everyone come back on the 20th and move the last teacher resource day to the 21st.
If we just added it, we'd be what, at 179?
You'd be at 169 days taught.
And would there be any other places to move that resource day that's on that Monday so that it's not 2 days out that week? Or we like that because coming back from the break? Okay. Okay.
The committee of
Yes.
teachers put this together?
We all work together with them.
Did
They've
we,
all approved it.
did we have Good Friday off on this year's calendar?
Fell on a different way it fell.
Mhm.
It was a lot farther from spring break, I think.
So with this, instead of the last day, if you added a day, instead of being a Friday, people would have to come back to school on Monday.
On that Monday?
And we wouldn't have very good attendance.
But is there really
Shocker.
a reason to add it now if we have the 4 more days to see if we have weather events? Because we'd have to be out 4 more days before we'd need to add a day.
No, not necessarily. We go by hours. We have to get to our hours, but you can't, you still have to get to your 1,080 hours, but you can't have less than 165 days. And so, if you, right now, we have 5 days to play with there. If you, that would knock you down to 4, which, I mean, then it, like I say, then you're just looking at, if it happens, what resource days do you take back, or the extended calendar? So you can do whatever, I mean, obviously you can do whatever you want with it.
My concern is you have 3 days of in-class during that 2 weeks, if we have the Good Friday. I mean, we only have three days of in-class after spring break. And I don't know how many teachers, students, or parents would want to come back to school that Monday.
Right, that's why we ended up doing the way we did it.
When is graduation?
For that year, we haven't set that year's yet.
Okay.
So it takes 169 instead of 170. What else? Was there a motion on the floor? There's a motion on the floor. Okay,
To add Good Friday?
to add Good Friday. Stay off. Okay.
Can we clarify that though, Lane? Is that to go down to 169 days taught? Or is that to add a day in somewhere else?
My thought would be, and Greg's your motion, but my thought would be you add one on as needed. Because more than likely, it's not gonna happen, but you have to have a contingency plan.
And there's other ways you can add besides adding a day, is there not?
Such as?
That we've done in the past, there's other ways that we've added hours.
Yeah, we can extend our school days.
We can extend the school day, we can change up the,
Would virtual days come into play if those weather days would?
If we're able to do virtual, yes.
Okay.
We miss a lot of school for electricity though. Hard to have virtual on those days.
That's tough. I know you said we had Good Friday off this year. Is that normally, have we had Good Friday off in the past?
I think I would have to go back and look on calendars. I don't know if it's every year. There has been years where we had, and there's probably been years where we've been in school. I would say more so off than not.
When is Good Friday for this year?
Huh?
When's Good Friday for this year, do you know?
It's on the let's see, 9th is Easter, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
7th is Good Friday.
Huh?
So April 7th
Yeah,
is Good Friday.
April 7th.
Okay,
Usually, if the calendar works out, if it's into April, we coincide it with our parent-teacher conferences. We're out April 12th. That is due to those conferences on the 9th and 11th, so Good Friday was around that time. Then you have some flexibility.
Friday, Friday, May 3rd, is that just a out-of-day school?
Teacher Resource Day.
Okay.
I don't like the idea of changing it. I mean, we had our teachers
No,
put
that
their,
is a day off, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the request because of from the 12th to the 20th, that being so many weeks without anything, so they requested that day in there.
we've given our teachers, they give us the input of what they would like the calendar to be. They work on it, they submit it to us. We go and change it, and then we have to take away days that they've planned somewhere else or extend their days because we're making a change that they didn't want. You know, I mean, I get it, it's nice to be off on Good Friday, but
As important as Good Friday is, I mean, that's 3 days of in-class that we'll be in during those 2 weeks. And coming back to that school on that Monday is it's gonna be tough.
we're extending the day,
Right.
30 minutes every day or 45 minutes every day.
Are we the only school around that has not approved the calendar for next year?
I think there was some doing them this month, so
Okay.
whenever their March meeting was. But yeah, we'd be one of the last ones.
Okay.
Summer, can you read back the motion, please?
Motion to approve the calendar with the addition of Good Friday as a day off and make an adjustment as needed.
With the addition of Good Friday off.
As a day off, yes.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? For a second. Going once. Twice. All right, motion failed.
I move to approve item H, the 2023-2024 district calendar as it is.
All right, we got a motion by Katie to approve item H, 2023-2024 calendar, district calendar as it is.
My second.
Motion by Katie. Second by Derek. All right, need a vote.
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Greg, no, Stephen,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right, moving on to item 6, new business, discuss and possible action regarding new business. This business, in accordance with 25 OS Section 311A9, is limited to any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting this agenda. No new business. All right, so moving on to item 7, adjournment.
move we adjourn.
All right, we got a motion by Greg to adjourn.
Second.
Stephen with the second. We need a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Greg, yes, Stephen,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
adjourn.
Time is 6:55.
It's still a good meeting. Bye.
Pretty good.